Becca, the Aquarium Director at the South Florida Science Center Aquarium. Welcome! Today we want to talk about sharks. Sharks are one of my personal favorite animals. They're amazing animals. We call them keystone species in science, meaning they're one of the most important animals in our marine ecosystem. Their main job is to take out the weak, the sick, and the dying, and may not make a lot of sense, but just by doing that, they're keeping all of the different ecosystems healthy all the way down to the corals. I wanted to start off today by quizzing your guys' brains a little bit, and I wanted to ask you what you think the largest shark in the world is. Do you have it in your head yet? All right, that is, ta-da, the whale shark. Whale sharks I love to call the gentle giants of the ocean. The reason for that is they are actually filter feeding sharks. They're not the big toothy sharks like you think of, the great white, those kinds of sharks. They eat a lot of food, but they eat tiny, tiny little things like krill and things like that. They are really beautiful animals, really one of the most majestic things if you're ever lucky enough to see one. I'm jealous. I have not gotten to be with them in the ocean yet. But they are the largest of all the sharks. That is the whale shark. The second largest shark in the world is actually also a gentle giant, and that is called, you know it starts with the B. That is the basking shark. These guys actually were hunted almost to the point of extinction. People were terrified of them back in the day, but there are still a few out there, not a lot, but they are out there. They're not as large as the whale shark. They can get up to 33 feet long, but they are passive filter feeders. They eat plankton and small fish and invertebrates. So now moving on to the more toothy sharks. What is the largest toothy shark you can think of in the world? That's right, you guessed it, great whites. Great whites are incredible species. The largest that I know that we've caught is 23 feet long. They have that distinct white underbelly, and they can eat quite large things, but they're not man-eating machines like people think. They actually could eat maybe one sea lion, one seal, and then be good to go for quite a while. As you can see, they have very large teeth. Basically, they have serrated edges on those teeth, so they can cut through a sea lion quite easily. And I have worked with sea lions as a marine mammal trainer. Sea lions actually can get up to 1,500 pounds. I call them the dogs of the sea. They're incredible animals. But yeah, great whites can eat them. So that means they're quite large and fearsome in their own right. Great whites are kind of the loners of the sea. There's so much we still don't know about them, and I'm hoping that we can actually help them and help all sharks rebound in their population because of our fear, really, humans' fear of them, we've been wiping them off the face of the earth for a long, long time. Humans are actually killing 11,000 sharks every hour. That's a lot of sharks. So for every 5 people, if that, worldwide killed by sharks, we're killing 100 to 200 million sharks or more a year. So I always ask kids and adults alike, who is the bigger predator, us or them? Another thing I wanted to talk about is the Megalodon shark. We got a Megalodon replica here. Pretty cool. Basically, it's the prehistoric ancestor of the great white. The only difference is they've shrunken in size to adapt to their environment. Megalodons actually used to be about 80 feet long, I believe. And can you imagine this times 5 rows of razor-sharp teeth? That's pretty incredible. So these guys ate whales. And just to say that they survived all 5 mass extinctions, literally, they just shrunk in size. So the great white is basically the Megalodon, just much, much, much smaller. Same shark, same teeth shape and everything. Just they've kind of adapted to their environment to not go extinct. So sharks are very well adapted to their environment. A couple other sharks I wanted to talk about today are some of the sharks we have here locally in our waters. I have the bull shark. This guy is considered the 3rd most dangerous toothy shark out there. What I find incredible about bull sharks is that they actually can swim in fresh water. That's a place that you might not be thinking of a so-called man-eating shark, but they can do it. They have been found way up the Mississippi River and all kinds of places that a lot of people didn't expect them to be. Bull sharks are very common here in Florida. They like warm water, so if you're lucky, you'll see one out there. They're really not out to get you, like I said. I've worked out there shark tagging many years ago, and I always joke and tell people I've been bitten and stung by just about everything, but even with blood and guts in the water, I have never been bitten by a shark, so that says a lot about them. They're actually way more intelligent than we give them credit for. Another really cool shark to talk about is this sawfish shark. These are actually, I believe, a critically endangered species, so you're incredibly lucky if you ever get to see one. Sawfish sharks, this is what they look like. There was actually a fisherman, this was a couple years ago now in Boynton Beach, that caught a very large sawfish shark. Thankfully, he knew what to do and he released him right away. If you kill a sawfish shark, you will be in big trouble with the law, so it is definitely against the law to kill these animals. There was an article fairly recently about a guy doing just that. I hope he's in big trouble. Sawfish sharks are incredible. So this is basically a tool for them. They can chop fish up, almost like a saw is my best way to describe it, and then their mouth is located right here, and then they can swallow the little chunks they chopped up. So that's a pretty cool animal. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the second most dangerous shark in the world, and unfortunately I don't have a job, but I do have a Hawaiian weapon paddle. These are tiger shark teeth. Tiger sharks are considered the second most dangerous shark in the world, besides the bulls and the great whites. Hawaiians have a very healthy respect and reverence for tiger sharks. They actually collect these teeth and they used to make weapons with them. And this is a pretty severe weapon if you ask me. I would not want to be hit by this thing. But Hawaiians have always had a very healthy respect for sharks. They are not out there killing them like in other parts of the world. They actually respect them and admire them and know that they're keeping their oceans healthy. So these are tiger shark teeth. They have a different type of shaped tooth than the bull and the great white. Their favorite thing is to eat the carapace of sea turtles, and by having this kind of bent edge to their teeth and the serrated edges, they can go right through the carapace of a sea turtle. So these guys aren't that picky though. They'll eat a lot of different things. We found some interesting things in their bellies over the years, same with the bull sharks. So they'll eat, what's around, what they can find. That's the tiger shark in a nutshell. Another really cool shark I'd love to talk about is the Mako shark. Mako sharks are like cousins of the great white shark, much smaller in size, have much smaller teeth, as you can see. And they're actually being hunted way too much lately. A lot of sport fishermen are hunting these guys. A lot of people are afraid of them and just killing them to kill them. It's terrible, terrible thing. But Mako sharks, as you can see by just the shape of their teeth, they eat things like sardines and herring, things like that, ballyhoo. They are one of the fastest swimming sharks in the ocean, so they're like a torpedo in the water, like you driving down I-95. So that's pretty fascinating to think about how fast that is. These guys are, like I said, very well adapted to their environment. Another shark I love to talk about is the blacktip shark. Not only is it one of the sharks that I see a lot out there, pretty common in our waters. They do like warm water. Another really interesting thing about blacktips is, of course, that distinct fin with the little black marking on it. There are two different types of blacktip sharks, but this guy, I wanted to show you. All the toothy sharks have rows and rows of sharp teeth. Believe it or not, one shark in his lifetime can lose 30,000 teeth. That's a lot of teeth. If you've ever been to the airport, it's kind of like a conveyor belt. Every time they eat, they lose a tooth or two. A lot of sharks, the way they replace it is a whole new row will come forward. And they don't have gums and nerves like we do, and so it doesn't hurt them at all. And when all of these rows are gone, 5 more will take its place. So that's how one shark can lose 30,000 teeth in his lifetime. Really another amazing thing, if you touch your nose and your ears, that's actually cartilage. That's what a shark's, basically their bones are made out of. So when they die, eventually all that will remain are their teeth. And that's why, actually here in Florida, Vero Beach specifically, we have more shark teeth fossils here than anywhere else in the world. So that's pretty interesting. A couple things I want to tell you guys if you are afraid of sharks, if you don't want to see sharks out in the ocean. They are most active between dusk and dawn. So if you don't want to see a shark, maybe don't swim in the water during those times. Another thing is, I always say when you hang out in a group in the water, you kind of look like a big predator to a shark from their understanding and their brain capacity. So 2 or 3 people together in the water, I don't think a shark's gonna come after you if you think they are, which they aren't, but just so you know. Another thing, does anyone know who is most often attacked by sharks? Well, it's not scuba divers, it's not snorkelers, it's not swimmers, it's spear fishermen. And can you guess why? Yes, that's right. They're putting blood and guts in a living fish at the end of a spear. So that fish is sending off a signal that sharks actually can pick up on called ambuli of Lorenzini. So it's sending off an electrical signal, distress signal, so to speak, plus there's blood being released into the water. So of course, that might attract a shark to you. So if you are a spear fisherman, nothing wrong with that, but you might want to swim in a group or definitely have a dive buddy with you. Number 2 most often attacked is, well, actually, I think number 1 actually is surfers. Unfortunately, surfers, when they have a wetsuit on and they're on a giant surfboard, they kind of look like a sea lion. And typically, a lot of places where people surf, there's colonies of sea lions nearby, like in California. I'm sure you've seen that on Discovery Channel or Animal Planet. It's extremely rare. You're definitely more likely to be killed by lightning, have a coconut fall on your head, have a gumball machine hurt you or fall on you. I mean, I could go on and on. You could be run over by a herd of pigs. It's more likely than literally being bitten by a shark. So don't worry about the sharks. They're out there keeping our oceans healthy. They take out the weak, the sick, the dying. They keep all of our ecosystems healthy. One last thing I wanted to end with today, and that is a terrible practice that is called shark fin soup. A lot of the sharks that are being killed worldwide by humans are for shark fin soup. It's a horrible and barbaric practice. They take a knife and they cut the fins off of a living shark and throw that living shark back into the water to suffocate and die. If you didn't know this, most sharks, not all, but most sharks have to stay swimming to stay breathing, to push water over their gills to absorb oxygen. So if they don't have fins, they can't swim. We're using this shark fin soup. It's considered a delicacy in certain parts of the world. There are things we can do to make sure that we're not contributing to that. Basically, if you're going to a seafood restaurant, for example, and you see shark fin soup on the menu, do not eat there. A lot of people always tell me, oh, well, this isn't happening in America. This happens in other countries. No, that's not true. We actually export shark fin soups to other countries, and we do serve shark fin soup in certain restaurants here in America. So do not contribute to that. Please do not eat at restaurants like that. My other advice is to go to Monterey Bay Aquarium. They have something called seafoodwatch.org cards there. You can download it and stick it in your wallet. It tells you if you do eat seafood, what actually is, not affecting the ocean in a negative way, and it tells you your best choices, your okay choices, and choices to avoid. Sharks are actually terrible for your health. They're full of mercury and lead and all of these things that you actually don't want to consume, and it's pretty tasteless. Without all the flavorings and stuff they put in the shark fin soup, it would not taste good at all. So that's another reason not to eat shark fin soup. So that's all for today, folks. I hope you learned a little bit today. Here we are taking care of all of our fish, all our sharks and stingrays. We'll be here every day, 7 days a week to make sure everyone's alive and healthy and well fed and their water quality is perfect. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.